Every streaming service and television network wants a piece of that sweet Game of Thrones magic, Netflix included. Game of Thrones didn't simply dominate the ratings, it obliterated everything in its path to become one of the biggest shows of all time. More importantly, the epic fantasy series became an event for families, friends, and frenemies to discuss after every episode. Yes, even the controversial final season. Love it or hate it, but everyone spoke about it. And that's a pop culture impact that money can't buy. Ever since Game of Thrones exploded on the scene, everyone scrambled for the next big fantasy hit to satiate the audience wanting more of the same. Prime Video delivered The Wheel of Time and The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, while Netflix struggled to crack the code. Shadow and Bone appeared to be the answer, but in typical Netflix fashion, the show had its legs cut off before it could even put on its underwear.
You can't be serious.
However, if Netflix still seeks out its own Game of Thrones competitor, it has the answer right under its nose: Masters of the Universe. A few years ago, it looked like Netflix would be the home of all things He-Man, after the streaming service ordered 2 animated series and picked up the live-action film that's lived in development hell for so long that it has grown its own set of horns. In 2023, though, Netflix said bye-bye to the Masters of the Universe movie, deciding to stick with the cartoons Masters of the Universe, Revelation and Revolution and He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Now, here's the cold, hard truth. Masters of the Universe features a lot of lore and characters. So much so that it's almost impossible to cover everything in one movie. Get where we're going here, right? Much like Game of Thrones couldn't work as a film, the same holds true for He-Man and his pals, as Masters of the Universe. Revelation and Revolution demonstrates there's the possibility to dive deeper into the history of Eternia and its characters in a series format. Doing so allows for focused storylines and to build on the previous season's narrative arcs and expand on it. Revolution, for example, focuses on Skeletor's past as Keldor and his familial connection to Randor and Prince Adam. It provides a necessary backstory to the villain beyond just being evil and his relationship to Hordak, while also adding an additional narrative layer that complements what came before it. In a film, this type of subplot could come across as unnecessary bloat, but seeing how it's executed in Revolution shows how it could work in a live-action format too. The characters and world could be fleshed out better over time and several seasons in a more cohesive and engaging storyline rather than in a 2-hour extravaganza that's only going to be about action and special effects. Zombies, warring families, castles, sorcerers, dragons, a fight for the throne. Sound familiar? Well, it should, since it's the same plot formula that Masters of the Universe and Game of Thrones follow. The only difference is the bells and whistles Motu adds by setting the story in space and applying more of a technological influence. That said, this also gives He-Man's adventures a slight edge over the shenanigans at Westeros. Even though the concept will feel similar to the audience, the execution looks different. For the executives signing the checks, this is the sweet spot between high risk and tried and tested. While capitalizing on nostalgia can be a tempting strategy, prioritizing budget over quality risks undermining the very things that made shows like Game of Thrones resonate with audiences. Still, Netflix's recent acquisition of the WWE library shows us that if they want to, they can invest in established properties. Masters of the Universe, with its rich lore, super devoted fan base, and potential for captivating narratives, deserves the same kind of love. It's not just about reviving a cartoon, it's about unlocking the potential for a truly epic live-action fantasy that will be appreciated by generations. As they say, the power is in their hands. Making a decision like this would easily secure Netflix's reign as the king of streaming for audiences worldwide and for Eternia. Tell us, Do you think Masters of the Universe could become Netflix's next Game of Thrones?